Finally, I'm all alone. Alone, 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 alone. I don't think there's anyone here yet, but I got art to do, so we're just gonna chill for a bit. But we do have some people to thank, because Eric E549, Neon the Fox, Holmstrom, and Snow all followed in between streams, which is very nice of them. It was in part thanks to me showing up on Dearest Chenology 345 stream. So if any VOD watchers out there do not know Chen, please do go check him out. But again, whether or not then anyone's out there, Riku's out there. Hello, Riku. It's time to start doing art. Art, I say. Yeah, so I've already animated all this. And... oh, there's no frame. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I've basically... if you're like, hey, Cahill, you know, you've been doing this for a minute, right? Have you made any progress in the past, like, 2 months? The answer would be no. And I'm sorry about that. Life has gotten in the way. Aw, I'm sorry about them being sick. I hope they get well soon, Riku. A swift recovery unto them, if you will. I feel like a lot of people I've known in life are getting sick recently, which is definitely a bummer, but honestly, I do think everything tends to end up okay, so all you can really hope for after that is a swift recovery. Here's the thing, right? So, I haven't made much progress on this in the past 2 months because of life. But so, like, I have this scene set up right here, and this frigate is this size on this screen, and that's a frigate. A frigate's being very big, and the main character is sailing a sloop. So, our main character vehicle has got to be pretty small next to this thing, honestly, which works out because it means we don't have to draw in extraneous detail. Exactly. Provide the nutrients. Nutrients for the child. It's good when you're young and your body is just like, most diseases are nothing. Nothing for us. Especially in today's day and age. The wonders of medicine. I remember being sick as a kid, and then like learning later that in a century past, those diseases would have been much worse for me. But you know, in the modern day and age, I was A-okay. Just doing, you know, just being myself. Not worrying about it too much. It's always good to hear. Does anyone know how Bermuda... smoothies are good. Get them lots of fruit. Most of my nutrition comes from fucking... you know, from fruit drinks. So, I see this as a win. Also, let me look up how a Bermuda sloop folds, because that's important for this specific scene. Bermuda sloop. Yeah. And it's a tasty treat. That's hard to beat. What's the sailor term for when all the sails are stowed? You know? You know what I'm saying? No? Okay. Is it furled? Closed? I love pirating in ships. It is furl, yes? Well, when I googled that, nothing came up, so. We're screwed. Does anyone know? Okay. Hello, Oak. I adore you. I'm glad you're here. Does anyone know how ships work? And they docked at Water 7. Because basically, this ship, the sinking anchor, one of its biggest sails is like this, right? It's going back this way, that way. Does this drop? I think this would drop, right? Like that's how you would close the sail. That seems right, right? Like the top of the sail is hoisted up the mast for the sake of catching the wind. Like most things. The only if it was just, because it also has got those I think they're called jib sails. So those just get folded up on the line, but this one has a boom on it. It's got two boom. Are these both booms? They're probably not both booms, huh? This would be a boom right here. Because when it hits you, it goes boom. No, now I am lost. Well, you see, Oak, the Going Merry was a caravel, and the sinking anchor is a Bermuda sloop, so they definitely have different sailing. I don't want to say requirements. Methods? Yeah, methods. Different rigs. That is probably almost actually the term. They're rigged different. I want to talk to Oak about where they are in One Piece, but A, I don't want to spoil them, and B, I don't want to spoil anyone else. So, this needs to be much smaller. Yeah, that seems about right. Forced perspective makes this look a bit smaller. And this being more in front is about as small as it actually gets. Sure, as long as it's not going to spoil someone who might also be watching One Piece. Give me a vague event that just happened. I can remember it. It's been a while. I'd still watch it later. Yeah, but I mean, I've already talked about, and this is not on you, Riku, to care about or uphold, but a lot of people like to spoil some of the biggest things in One Piece with anime edits. So I'm like, you know what, let me try and not just act like no one else will ever enjoy One Piece for the first time. It would be a little rude of me. Me specifically. Y'all do what you want, I guess. Not here, but in general. I'll put to be clear, I would stop you if you tried to do it on my stream. But in general, I'm not your mom. You know? I'm probably not. It's coming up soon. Yeah. I mean, I kind of figured. And I love, I mean, we talked in Discord about how it's all kind of one thing. Inya's lobby and Water 7 all just kind of one big arc, but they are, for whatever reason, differentiated. Even though Water 7 doesn't really have an end and Inya's lobby doesn't really have a beginning, you know? At the supposed end of Water 7, nothing, no plot points have been resolved. And you can't start Enya's Lobby without having seen Water 7. So, yeah. Yeah, but a saga, so, I mean, anime 101 for people. Because honestly, I find this, how a lot of shonen structures itself very interesting. It's a big influence on stuff I want to do. Oh my goodness. Sorry, 1 second. But yeah. Because but I mean, a lot of shonen will organize itself where you have the big series goal. You know, Naruto wanting the one. Naruto wants the One Piece. Okay, I wasn't gonna make a joke, but there it is. Naruto wants the One Piece. That's a series goal. And then sagas are traditionally the miniature stories in those that have some like, you know, overarching narrative framed within the chase for the larger goal. And then an arc would just be like this is the immediate problem in front of us. An arc being still tied around whatever that, you know, revolving around whatever the saga is revolving around. And then the whole thing revolving around the main goal of the series. It's like, you know, a solar system with moons and planets and suns. Some solar systems have multiple suns, not ours. So yeah, I mean there is a one in this context. Yeah, I mean there is a One Piece saga that, like a future one, Oak has not gotten to, and a lot of people have not gotten to, that is technically all a singular arc. Like there are no miniature things in it. It's just one big thing. And I think that's okay. Like yeah, absolutely do that, anime. But I just think Water 7 should be that as well. It's all Water 7. All of it's Water 7 all the time, baby. Unless you specifically only ever define One Piece arcs as the island they are on. Which, I mean, is kind of how it's defined. It's the idea, you know, they're adventuring. Stop at a place, have a good time, leave. One Piece is a good time, though. Honestly, if I could, I would convince more people to watch it. Okay, I need to be careful here. Because I don't actually mean I want people to watch it. I actually don't want people to watch One Piece. Legitimately. This isn't reverse psychology. Do not watch One Piece. Read One Piece. I think the manga is better. And you can definitely make your arguments for the anime, but Oak wasn't there. Some of my other friends were watching the anime in a VC, and as I watched it with them, they dragged out like a 2-page exchange into 3 episodes. And I get you need to kind of mix around the content of the story in order to successfully produce that anime, but sweet Lord in heaven. It was not something I'll be watching. Well, Just understand it could be better, Oak. And I have no... I mean, there are always benefits to watching something instead of reading it. But I would honestly argue you can sing the praises of a reading format for... You can... Or, sorry, I'm getting distracted by something. Real... Like, I see... I try to work on a cartoon and the real world distracts me every time. But especially for One Piece in particular, the benefits of reading kind of get shown a lot more. I think in part because of how long it is. I'm gonna like hide for a second. I will be right back. Please enjoy some Animal Crossing music for a bit. Okay. I'm coming out of hiding now. Is anything in the real world gonna try and whack me over the head? Do you think Bob Ross, just a real quick aside, do you think Bob Ross ever had stuff like they had to edit out because something legitimately just went wrong in the studio? Like, you know, I legitimately don't think he would freak out. I think he probably just had a normal human reaction to whatever would happen. But they're just like, that kind of breaks up what we're trying to do here. Because that's interesting. I don't imagine they have a reel of Bob Ross bloopers, but I would be interested in what those look like. They definitely don't stream them on Twitch like they do with the produced show. But I'd pay money I would donate to a charity in order to see what those look like. Oh my goodness. Anyway, to what Oak was saying. Legitimately, and this is not me slamming my friend Oak here. I would not be trying to lambast them about how they enjoy media. I think there is legitimate value to reading especially manga. As I might have talked, because I talked about Eye Patch Wolf a lot, but I don't know if I've mentioned like this specific thing he said here. But he's talked about how manga is super interesting, because it can just be made by one person. And granted, nowadays there's a lot of web comics that are just made by one person and stuff. But Western comics develop differently for multiple reasons. So it'd be traditional to have a team of people working on them. And again, if you just prefer watching anime, if you're not like in this to be like, let me critique the thing, then you know, it's whatever. I'm just saying. I think there is value to considering both options. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying, Oak. I'm not coming to trash your steez. I'm just like, I mash fast forward. Well, that's why I like manga, because I do that in my mind. If I don't like what's happening in a manga for a second, then I just start skimming pages. Easy as that. Meanwhile, I prefer not to just fast forward through anime, because sometimes fast forwarding ends up being the slower option. You know, you fast forward, but you're like, wait a minute, what was that there? That was actually I should have stopped there specifically. And then you have to rewind kind of, and then you're just like, okay, do I wait here? do I wait in this specific part of the anime, or do I try to like get to the exact moment? Do I try and line it up just right? So it's a whole thing. Okay. I need to figure out how long this little sloop we've got here. This is the end goal. We're in the end game now. So our sloop is this long, right? Okay. How many sloop lengths do we want to? How many Snoop Dogs do you want to try and fit in this animation? Maybe I should make it a different one. So let's see, that and that. Okay, one sloop. Command C, Command V. Good old shortcuts. Yeah, this is pretty. Honestly, it's still pretty long, even in this very small format. So they're probably going to overlap a bit. Yes. Okay. See, this is what I'm saying. We'll have a bit of overlap right there. And then... Do I know what this is going to look like as I animate it? No. But that's part of the fun, you know? Part of the fun of animating is figuring out what the fuck you're doing as you're doing it. Sometimes it's nice to be like, hey, I'm just gonna look up a guide because someone's definitely animated this specific action before. Like a walk cycle. You know, I don't need to reinvent the wheel here. I just need to get a walk cycle done. But then sometimes it's just like, I don't know where I could get this without it just being straight up plagiarism of some other animation someone else did whenever ago in a random cartoon. So with that in mind, I'll just hang out. This actually isn't too bad. So what I'm imagining is I don't have a lot of problems with it being maybe we'll do a couple in betweens here, but like when it lands, we're not just going to, like, stop it dead in its tracks. There's going to be a big sploosh animation onto the side of the galleon, just to add insult to injury, you know? It's like when it's like when a bully pulls up in his fancy car in an 80s movie and splashes the nerdy protagonist with a bunch of water from a puddle. I got my dad a bunch of Father's Day gifts sitting right beside me. I hope he likes them. The easy answer for me would be Legos, because my dad's a big Lego guy. Unfortunately, however, he owns all of them. I wish I was making that up more than I was. My father owns most Legos. Like, I'm moving around in my office now. Obviously, there's a bit of exaggeration in that statement, but in terms of sets they are currently releasing, my dad has most of the practically available ones. To get my father a unique Lego set would mean to drop like a couple $100 on either one of the super fancy ones, one of like the artisan lines they release, at which point the pressure would be on him to figure out where the heck to put it. And I'm not trying to put that kind of pressure on my paw. So it's either that or I don't know, just don't get him Legos. Don't get me wrong, he will get more for himself in the future. But that he'll be able to plan for that. Okay. Something I like doing with CSP is when I rotate stuff like this, it gets all weird, like, you know, like it doesn't know how to interpret the pixels or whatever. It doesn't matter what brush I use. The pixels get all scrambled no matter what. But I like then just being like, okay, turn the transparency down. Set it to, like, you know, 50% and let's trace over it a little bit. Have a good time. I'm not actually going to trace over it though, because here's the thing. I need to... I'm on... Why... So what's happening here? What's going on? Why is my thing not showing up? Oh, wait. There is a clear pen option, and I was on that by mistake. Whoopsie. Oh, silly me. I had the Invisipen option on. What a goober I am. Also, one of the reasons I'm so drawn to doing a cartoon series in the rubber hose style is because it kind of lends itself for you to do, you know, some small goofy animation errors here and there. You know what I mean? Like when you look at older cartoons, there's definitely plenty of little evidences of human error present in them. And so that means, as opposed to trying to make everything perfect like you would if you were trying to do like some kind of fancy anime adaptation, instead you're like, oh, I want to make sure I leave some little interesting little details in there. And I like that. It makes it just a bit more fun. You got the problem with the specific thing I've chosen to draw on this stream though is that a lot like I'm not doing just like single lines of these. I'm doing bubble lines, and they're very thin bubble lines, which is not an easy ask, legitimately. That's just what I always think of, you know, because that's what they would call them in school. People would be like, if you make bubbles, I mean, if you make letters that have like some thickness to them, those are bubble letters. So now I just think of anything like that, like if I do a bubble line. Bubble A. It's not an Among Us. I already see. You already see the comments. Leave. Can't believe you would do this to me. On the day of my cartoon's wedding. No, Riku, no. Riku. I wanted to reference a fucking parody from ProZD where he's making fun of Kingdom Hearts, but I don't want to just say, Riku, you're such an ass. Because I don't want Riku to think I'm calling them an ass. I don't need to watch Naruto. I know what Sasuke's like from Kingdom Hearts. I'm trying to... I was like, why did I put a little divot there? I was looking at my own drawing and being like, why is that detail in there specifically? Hi, Stitch. I think that's one of the biggest lessons a lot of people need to learn. But though granted, it's also a lesson that ends up keeping a lot of people from trying traditional art, is that you need to be willing to kind of start over on some stuff, you know? Never be afraid to be like, hey, this isn't looking good how I wanted it to. Time to do it again. But that kind of, while that is kind of I don't want to even say like the correct way to do art. While it is a good art practice, it ends up keeping people to computers because they're like, my Control Z. What will I do without my Control Z? You just spend more time on the sketching part. You know? Oh, I just realized something. This should not be curving like that because it is a straight line, so it should just curve in a kind of one-way fashion. You know what I mean? Yeah, like that. Yeah, my friend Deja really enjoys oil painting. In terms of, you know, art mediums, it speaks to them the most, and I imagine that is probably part of it. I'm not a big painter myself. I like etching away at stuff. I have considered whittling before, you know? Even though, Like the subtractive nature of sculpting is kind of intimidating. I think wood carving would be cool. Easier to work with than stone, that's for sure. I paint casually. And you want to know something? That's fantastic. It's like I've been saying. People do art for fun at the end of the day. It doesn't matter whether or not there are job opportunities for it. People will still end up doing art, so. It just happens to be best when people are allowed to do art. Very nice. It's weird we're talking like this now because I was doing Fortnite with friends last night on Chen's stream, and freaking that got weird. That got weird, and I get weird like that sometimes. Well, I mean, listen. I was gonna say, all you need there is a key and a locked door, but also consider a collar. Get a big, you know those big parrot cages, the one that are like half the size of her. No, we're getting there, Riku. Don't worry. You know, like the big bird cages that are like half the size of the room. Put like an Optimus Prime figurine in there, some Fortnite, and leave the kid in there as your oil paint dries. And you might say like, okay, well, that's going to take a couple days. Yes, leave the child in the parrot cage for a couple days. I don't know what's so bad about that. If it's good enough for parrots live to be about as old as humans. And they can live in parrot cages. No, it's fine. Listen to my no. Listen, hear me out. Okay, parrots can live to be like 80, right? And we have these little rooms for them already. And a lot of people live to be like 80. So the parrot rooms should be good for them too. Turtles live to be like 120. So therefore, maybe we should just all start living in terrariums. That sounds better. You know? I mean, I would like to sit on a warm rock with water and foliage next to me. That does sound good. That does sound like it will increase my life expectancy. And yet, no human terrariums thus far. Okay, well, you've already found the solution for that, Riku, then. You see? You posted the pig emote. Get a little pen. Someone was asking me the other day about, because like, when I do let Oswald out, I do have a little fence to make sure he doesn't get into certain areas. Like, do you ever take that outside? A family member was asking me this, and I was like, no. Because, like, I definitely agree and want my rabbit to be more free-roaming. Even more free-roaming than I let him be sometimes, but that's because I live with other people, and they're like, no. Don't let him out. But, with that in mind, I would not give Oswald an outside enclosure. Oswald... The fun thing about Oswald is he knows he's a prey animal. You know, he doesn't like being held. He would prefer not to be snatched at all. If he can help it. A fence. Well, fences, yeah. I mean, if it's a little kid, then you kind of got to. It's the same thing. But yeah, Oswald knows he's a prey animal. Doesn't like being picked up in any sense. But he just doesn't realize that I am not someone who's going to eat him. And that if he goes outside, there would be things that do want to eat him. There too. Then yeah, you should... Yeah. A fence. Some childproof locks. I'm no parent, but I'm saying. If you don't have doors... The kid might wonder, why is there a lock here? Well, that's the boiler room. And you don't understand what a boiler is yet, but we don't need you crawling underneath of one. Please don't crawl under our boiler. I need to redo this. Hello, little person who I've chosen to love. Please don't crawl under the boiler. That's such a bad idea. Again, same thing with Oswald. If I could talk to the little guy, I'd explain, like, listen, I will give you literally everything you will ever need. Please don't just chew and tear up stuff. Chew, tear up, hide somewhere that we can't find you. I guarantee you, life will be better if neither of us have to worry about those factors. For the most part, they listen. Well, I'm sure you're a good parent, Riku. So, they're gonna be just fine. You seem like a chill person, my guy. I doubt those kids have much to worry about. Don't shake the baby. I think I got that from Game Grumps. But Lord, it's been so long. Can't remember. The way I thought about this the other day, like, Game Grumps is still going, and, like, good for them, because honestly, there is no reason to ever really, if they like doing it, there's no reason to ever really stop. And I think about that whenever a lot of online people talk about, like, retiring or whatever. Like, I get, you know, being like, yeah, at one point I gotta stop, but they're like, yeah, I don't want to be doing this in however long. And I'm like, I wouldn't put a date on it. It's just whenever it's not fun. But regardless, like, Game Grumps has been going on for so long. when the age of the internet is, like, measured in only double digits, some Game Grumps moments I quoted and grew up with are now almost at also double digits. And that's weird to think about. I didn't ask to be this old. I would have liked to stay, 8 in summer. Watch Pokemon Battle Advance Battle on Cartoon Networks in the morning. No, not ads. Becoming 23 and having my stuff I used to watch all the time and get older with me. I was not given I was not given a choice. And if that happens. It's interesting though, because at the end of the day, first generation to really grow up with the internet. So it tends to be cool, but it also is just weird when you're like, oh, this isn't new anymore. Technically, people have been born, and this stuff people have been born and remember this stuff always being there. It didn't just come out as they were little babes like I. Also, for the record, I feel like... Oh wait, that's not 1. If I do, let's do a little estimate. Is this to get on the internet? See, I was not around for that. There was some, you know, currently outdated tech I was definitely around for. Like, like I remember flip phones, plenty well. Just not certain other things. My mom would always like to beg to differ. She was like, "You don't remember that," and I was like, "I do." I'm not so young that I only know of the modern technologies. I know some of the forbidden magics. Flip phones are cool. And to a degree, I'm okay with just, you know, text and call. It just happens that, A, it is very convenient for art purposes. I'm able to look stuff up on a current phone. And also, technically, I'm not texting friends when we're hanging out. I'm using Discord and everything. And I don't think there's been a flip phone that can download, like, Discord and text from it. There could be. Like, you know, there's no reason we couldn't just have a flip phone that has all the functionality and processing power of a smartphone. A screen-only smartphone, but no one seemed to show an interest in that idea, so... Now there's only smartphones. Only smartphones all the time. I'll make my own flip phone with blackjack and hookers. Joe DiMaggio did the voice of the Joker in like 2 animated movies, and he did a pretty good job. Obviously, it's hard for anyone to beat Mark Hamill, but he had a unique sound to him as that iconic villain, and I enjoyed it. All the Batman content out there right now, and the only thing worth reading is the Batman Family Adventures on Webtoon. Like the modern flip phone, I would look into that. I don't know what reason I would need to switch from a smartphone to a flip phone again, an iPhone to a Samsung flip phone, but I'll keep it in mind. If I'm just like, you know what, let me step back for a minute. But yeah, Batman Family Adventures. I see snippets of it all across the internet. It's the only piece of media to actually care about how Batman's relationships with, you know, other people. The only one to consistently remember all the characters. Okay, to be fair to some comic writers, though, I'm sure sometimes it's just because a character is dead or not in that universe or whatever. Because DC is a mess. So it's hard to be like, where's Tim Drake? Oh, he's dead right now. Right. Oops. Oops, my bad. Hello, Jaylee. How are you doing? It opens like a book. Honestly, I always thought those were cool. The smartphones that are book-esque, where they're like the screen. It's literally just the novelty of the screen folds, and I'm like, oh, the new technology. I'm okay. Just kind of hanging out. I didn't get to say. I was about to say on stream not too long ago, before thinking about like Bat Family and flip phones. Like this when I've talked about taking streaming more seriously, but also like not just selling my soul for it. This is kind of what I meant. there's not a lot of people here right now, and that is a-okay. Maybe it's because it's Thursday, but maybe it's because I'm streaming. I mean, streaming art. So it's hard to know, but I'm not going to change at least one of those things. I'm going to keep streaming art, regardless. So that part is not subject to change. If people are like, Cahill, I can't make it on Thursdays, then that part is subject to change. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Marvel stan here. I'm at work currently, yeah. I mean, would it literally just be best, do y'all think, for my... For a streaming career to just do Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays? Because I've always seen it as, like, you also have the most competition on weekends. If there's a time everyone's going to stream, it's gonna be the weekend. Ugh. Oh no, I've tried conducting polls about that, about like what streaming days are the best, but if I'm being honest, those of all my possible polls have always been the most the most, like, you know, non-conclusive. Not a lot of people do them. And, you know, I can't blame anyone for that. I'm just saying. I don't know when the people who want to watch my streams are available. At nighttime. Because if I'm being honest, that part is also kind of not super flexible. It is best for me when I stream at night. I gotta pee. No, okay. I'm gonna line this up. And I'm gonna go pee for a second. I'll be right back. No, let me give you all a nice, like, little view of the action. There we go. Okay. Jay Lee, Riku, watch stream for me. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. You can't burn down my chat. We're in the middle of the ocean. Everyone knows that the safest place to be during a fire is on a boat. Naturally. Nothing wrong with being on a boat while it's on fire. The water will eventually solve everything. Things with water. That now you're talking. You speak nonsense. You speak absurd words. This is a kangaroo court. Sea of Thieves begs to differ. Well, we're not in the Sea of Thieves, are we? We're in the... I don't know. Well, actually, this... should I say it? Like, just... I was thinking of... On, Also, I just realized something. I should just kind of start over here. With this specific frame. So, let me do so. That is the wrong... That's the wrong number. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Go here, that one, and then, like, well, first off, let's do this. I was looking at posts as I went to the bathroom, as you do. Laz, the lurkers appreciate it. We love lurkers here. I was commenting on, low numbers, as I will from time to time. Not in a negative sense, but just being like, blah, blah, blah. And at the very least, in that regard, lurkers help the most. So thank you. You're the best, Laz. I don't know. I like comics. I'm gonna piss on your doormat. I just got back. Please don't. Well, it's a doormat. You can go to Home Depot. Da 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 da. Y'all ever check your Ring camera only to realize a good friend has gone and pissed on your doormat? Because apparently I that's something I deal with now. And I wish I didn't. I don't like how life is turning out for Dylan Cahill. Have a good time, Riku. Goodbye. Appreciate you stopping by. But yeah. Juice, let me ask you something. You're a good friend. I feel like I can talk to you about this. Also, do you think there are just, like, better days I could be streaming? Like, if I'm streaming at the same time, is there a better schedule I could craft? Well, you had to see. Juice, if you weren't ready for people in chat to see that, you wouldn't have posted it, so... You were pretty determined for people not to see your Discord username last night, so... Don't pretend to me like anything you're doing is an accident. You subject people to your whims whenever you see fit. Yeah, I mean, if anyone in chat, under the power of my voice, is like, I have an idea for better days, then please, shout them out. I would love to hear them. Scheduling's so weird. How do you schedule something when theoretically you could be reaching out to everyone on Earth, you know? Bro, I mean, that's the one we're having issues with right now. For schedule. Ew. Why did I need a crafting recipe for that? I like the Minecraft approach. You just put shit on the table and see what works. So you're saying Monday and Sunday are a good idea, Juice, but where should we move Thursday? Should I try Friday? I mean, I'll be streaming tomorrow. Well, I don't know if I'll be streaming my perspective. I might be. But no. Should I try Tuesday? Should we do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday streams? Or just like. And by the way, you don't have to have a definitive answer or like. Chair. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the raid. What was Chair playing? Oh no, because the shadow command won't work. Street Fighter 6. Oh my goodness. You know, I got the Legacy Collection, trying to be like, should I get 6? But I did. Hot take: I did not enjoy Street Fighter 2. I tried playing Street Fighter 2. I was like, oh, this is hard. I'm playing NPCs and this is hard. So that's a bust. But I you know, there's the Alpha series in that as well. Street Fighter Alpha. So I might try those instead. Do a late one, and I get to raid you. Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate it, Chair. Raiders, I'm Cahill. I don't know if you know me, but I'm trying to make my own cartoon right now. I do comics. I play a lot of games. Play a lot of From Software games, which is probably not my best idea, but I've played a few on stream. So yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been practicing if there is one fighting game I've wanted to get good at and have definitely practiced a bit of, it is Dragon Ball Fighter Z. And honestly, I've also considered streaming it once or twice because I'm like, this is fun. I'm having fun. Chair, let me ask you as fellow streamer. Do you think there's a better day I could be streaming at the time I'm currently streaming? Like, if there was a day besides Thursday where I was streaming at this time, what day do you think that should be, Chair? Christmas? You think I should stream on Christmas? But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like I said, I'm interested in Street Fighter 6 a little bit, but A, I don't really have the money to spare, and B, I like owning every game in a series, not just 6. If I was even smarter about, you know, trying to get my streams big, I would have picked that up and started streaming that immediately on top of Sekiro and Art. But no, I'm going to be doing Hades soon instead. Because A, does actually still get real good numbers on Twitch, and B, I mention Hades and a lot of people in the chat are like, fuck yes! That's a good enough idea. I mean, yeah. Maybe I just need to start kidnapping people who are free on Thursdays. If only there... Guys, I'm having a problem with Twitch. If only there was a place I could buy big follows. Where would I find a place like that? I think we're firmly past the time in Twitch history where bots are trying that specific scheme. You know, there's like that one... I forget his name, but there's... Just casual Thursday mass kidnapping. Exactly. Eventually, everyone just starts See, the good thing about the kidnapping plan is that if I do it enough, people will just start leaving their Thursdays free. And then I don't even have to really kidnap them anymore. They'll just be free on Thursdays to watch streams. Eventually, a small town somewhere out there in America will just know not to do anything on Thursdays because a mysterious man in a bunny costume comes to kidnap them all at some point on that specific day. I've described an indie horror movie. Someone moves to a small town and has to get used to all this. That's a weird. That's a weird Easter. Do you mean Thanksgiving juice? I don't think Easter's on a. Oh, you mean because I'm in a bunny costume? Well, I have to stay on branding. Come on. Come on, Juice. Come on. You know this. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will just be like, Sunday and Monday are fine. What do we do instead of Thursday, though? See if anyone takes that bait. I've talked a lot of shop over my time streaming, but I like talking shop. I think it's one of the things that makes streaming fun. Before the actual day, so I'm right. Fair enough. Remember when COVID like started for like real, and the Pope was like, "We're canceling Easter," and they were like, "You can do that?" And he was like, "I did it." No, the only time we are not encouraging you to come here for Easter. Stay home. Do anything else. I guess you can still paint your eggs, but just don't touch people while you're doing it. Do not come. Bowser is coming. I try to set up trigger fire, but I don't know, it's weird. I'm not a good tech guy. If there was one thing I could set up competently to make my streams look more professional and more inviting for people, it would not be trigger fire. I would want to set up transitions. Scene transitions, like more fancy the UI stuff. Because I think whenever I see that, I'm always like, ooh, they're smart. Look at these smart people. Look at these smart people. Kermit the Frog here. Look at these smart people. It went from Cahill to Kermit to Popeye. Sometimes it's just good to do voices, you know? The US government doesn't tell you, but you can just make voices. It's a little secret from you to me. Okay. So what should probably happen is like the sinking anchor right here literally jumps into frame, and then it around here it starts sliding, and then it splooshes water onto the frigate. Y'all like pirates? I like pirates. Could you tell? Did you know? I like how... So I'm doing the frames backwards, so I'm not numbering them yet. OMG, you like pirates? Honestly, if I was confident it would get numbers, I would start streaming my 100% Assassin's Creed 4 run. Because I thought of doing that and got it on Switch. And I was like, that seems like the perfect idea. But even if I'm branded as a pirate, and I do actually have a pirate brand on my arm. It hurt. I don't think enough people would show up for that. And I am taking that far more into consideration than Once Upon a Time. I mean, like, Once Upon a Time, I was falling in love. But now, I'm only falling apart. And there's nothing left to do. A total eclipse of the heart. I think of that song like once every day. If I can be vulnerable for a minute. Somewhere in the world, every minute, Cahill is thinking of a total eclipse from the heart. He just likes the lyrics. Yeah, look at that semicircular formation. Oh my gosh, we're gaming. taken down by a gamer. I do job training tomorrow. I'm not sure I want to go. I was feeling good about the job I had some applied for and kind of gotten. But now I'm kind of hoping another one gets back to me. Specifically because I just want I literally just want a 9 to 5. It's so like it's all made up. I don't think anyone ever had a new no one's ever had a single income 2.5 child, 1 dog house with a 9 to 5 job. It doesn't exist. Yeah, it's not real. It's made up like the Tooth Fairy or the Queen of England. You know? Because every job I have ever applied for and gotten has had the weirdest, most insane hours you've ever seen in your life. And I just want I want job hours. I want job times. You know, like like job. I'm not even asking for like money, you know? I like doing streams and commissions to make up part of my income. I'll do minimum wage. Just give me normal-ish hours. I can make that work. Either I get a fancy art job, full-time streamer, or some, you know, or I pull something out of my ass. But I'm gonna make one of those jokes I don't make often. The autism in me just wants a good schedule. And no one seems willing to accommodate that. So and I just wish they would. I worked for, you want to know something? I worked at Disney World. And you would think of like all places to work, Disney would have it together, right? Like, you know, oh, I've worked for a few jobs, and like there hasn't been great management at all of them, but surely Disney will have it together. No one knows what the fuck is going on. It's so insane how many businesses just like do not know what they're doing and just make it up. It makes me think that the people who complain about like minor stuff when they visit any kind of, you know, place of business, like they don't work. Those people don't know what they're saying or talking about or doing. The fact that this place is presentable right now is a miracle, man. So you complaining about thinking one of our shirts is on sale when it's not is an absolutely insane thing to me. There was a fire in the break room 5 minutes ago. The fact we're not dead is an act of God. And you're complaining to me that your burrito is cold. So, that's what I've learned from having any jobs ever. Is no one knows what they're doing. If you act confidently and just kind of help people cover whatever needs to be done, you will seem like a good employee. And I know that because I've done like, sometimes I've just done the bare minimum and people are like, Dylan, you're great at this. I'd be like, I am? Like, I'm doing a lot of physical work for sure, but I thought this is just kind of the bare minimum. I'm trying to do the bare minimum. Please. Are you saying the bar gets lower? How low can I go? It's a fun game. You know, I watch a lot of my brother and me, and the middleest brother on that not advice show can say some pretty wacky things every now and then. But he said something that I absolutely think is true, which is that when you're at a job, the person above you doesn't care that much about like a lot of things, you know? Your immediate boss in whatever job you have in most places doesn't like, they're probably not going to get you like in trouble. It's the person above them who will go on and get you in trouble. And I found that to be pretty true. Most places, again, including Disney, where I have worked at, the people immediately in charge of me will literally just sit around with you and talk. They are not super caring about how much work you're doing. Obviously, if you have enough like immediate bosses, one of them will be like, "Hey guys, go do some work," and it's just like, "Okay, I'm so glad you're my boss." But other than that, a lot of cool people. Also, thank you, Jaylee. Listen, I'm gonna try and make the best of it. Whether I'm stuck at the place I'm about to go into for a while, or I immediately move on to something else, I am going to do my best, and hopefully everything works out. Do I think everything will work out? Probably not. I'm Cahill's in a tight pickle right now. But if you guys know anything from me streaming certain games, is that I'm a stubborn man. So I'm not about to give up. I'm not a giver-upper. I might be a fixer-upper on HGTV, but that's different. That's because my plumbing is broken, and you have to replace the pipes, which does eat into the refurbishment budget, but like, it really can't be avoided. The last owners did not do any maintenance on the plumbing here, so it that is the biggest thing that needs to be redone in me, Dylan Cahill. After that, you could look into like kind of making a better kitchen, because like the kitchen's not bad, but if we could just improve that specifically, it would really raise the value here. Location's good and the backyard is nice. But utilities wise, and stuff that like actually needs to be repaired, like this stuff is rusted to the core. One of the toilets barely even flushes. There's no pressure on this thing, and part of the reason is that one of the pipes is just like rusted through and leaking in the basement. Or is this real talk? No, I'm actually talking about my body now, Jay Lee. I have rusty pipes. I have rusty pipes in a nice backyard. And that's not an analogy. If you were to meet me real life, the first thing you would note is that there's a porch attached to the back of my waist. And there's a nice little like garden and everything there. It's pretty cool. My favorite thing to do on streams is to just keep running with an analogy until it is nonsensical and incomprehensible. We have fun here. A lot of HGTV shows are the same. The main difference is whether or not the hosts are fucking. Fixer Upper, I'm pretty sure those two are married, so yes, they are fucking. Love It or List It, not married, also almost definitely having sex. Property Brothers, I'm pretty sure I saw them on a adult website at one point, so also indeed. If it wasn't them, it was a convincing parody of their show made for an adult audience. So it was called the Slopperty Brothers. Oh no! Oh, why did I? Oh, why was that? What came to me? Oh, that's awful. These brothers like to get sloppy. They, uh, getting away from the very bad, very bad. I don't want to say fantasy because it makes it sound like I'm using that word in a different way, but the very bad theoretical situation I've created. I've seen the Property Brothers like like you scrub your brain. I like to do that too, Juice, but last time I tried, the doctor said that a saw wasn't the best tool to use for a deep clean. Gold rocks and bleach. She said that wasn't a good tool to use either. Anyway, I've seen them like like they appear as guests on a lot of stuff. And one, is their show like that big, actually, that they're like, yeah, we will guest host on like a million other shows because everyone knows who the Property Brothers are, I guess. And also, do they just say that, like they were on the my brother? They were on my brother, and me. You have any lobotomy specials coming up? They used to just do that. Oh, I need to look up the word. It's not tracheotomy. Tracheotomy is a throat surgery, right? Trepanning. That's what it is. Because, like, in the 1800s, people just thought lobotomizing fixed a lot. And, I mean, you were basically just unethically turning off a person. So it's less, I fixed them, and more, they don't do anything now. But before that was the hip new craze. Trepanning was a thing, which is you would go to a doctor and you were like, my head hurts. And the doctor would say, well, clearly what is happening is there is too much in your head. So what we're going to do is we're going to open a hole in it, and we won't do anything with the hole. We'll just leave the hole there for a while. And you'll probably feel better in a little bit after the hole's been there for a bit. And we know this not just because there are medical records and tools made for this specific process, but because there are human fossils from the earliest times when we would quote unquote practice medicine, and the fossils have drilled holes in their skulls. Not like a what's the thing? Not like a concussive wound, like a medically made hole in a skull. Because I guess they just thought, okay, we shouldn't touch. Ancient doctors, I guess, just thought, okay, we shouldn't touch the brain. They knew that. They were like, we shouldn't touch it. But we should see what's going on in there and possibly try and get things out? Question mark. So we should open a hole. And they did. And then one of the doctors would say, do we know how to, like, close the hole? And the rest would be like, it'll be fine. It's cool. I got that from one of the my brother and me hosts. They have a first off, Justin McElroy of my brother and me. He has bi-wife energy, and that is in fact because his wife is bi, and she's also a doctor, so he does a medical podcast with her. And I haven't watched a lot of the episodes, mostly because A, sometimes I don't want to hear about medical horrors, and B, sometimes I want to learn, so I can't just listen to it as I do anything else. I want to like listen and absorb information. One of the ones I listened to though was about how, I believe it's called a fissure, something like that, but a hole between your butthole, the inside of your butthole and like the leg, a second butthole opens up basically, and a king got one of those, and they tried healing it in every way possible, and nothing worked because it was the fucking medieval time. So obviously nothing worked. They tried tying chickens to shit. And of course they weren't going to get anything to fix second butthole disease. They thought you were made of four goos. So when nothing ended up working, the royals of that king, you know, like the general court and whatnot, they were like, well, the king has a second butthole, so clearly we all also need second buttholes. They were like, it's fashion now. If you can't fix it, clearly it's fashion. And they just started asking their doctors to do that to them. They're like, Doc, hook me up with a second butthole. And the doctors would be like, I mean, you didn't even really need to come to me for that. Like, in that regard, anyone could give it to you. But okay. I guess that's what you hired me for. It's medieval times. I kill most of my patients, and you're the only one who gives me a living. So, if you want a second butthole, you got it, sir or madam. Royalty of unspecified gender. What? I'm talking about second buttholes, Juice. Keep up. Juice, were you not listening to me talk about second buttholes? This was going to be on the test. And you've now missed crucial information in my class. Cause what? You were on Twitter looking at Ganondorf R34 and Miguel O'Hara? Oh no. Oh no what? Second buttholes, oh no? Or Miguel O'Hara, oh no? Is the PowerPoint on the blackboard? There was no PowerPoint. I was reading from my own personal notes. You had to be listening. Jews, I'm very lenient with my students. Y'all can do whatever you want in here for the most part. All I literally ask is that you listen to me. So that way we can all do well on the test. And you have completely disrespected what the trust I have given you. So if you fail, I really won't care. I'm one of those teachers who's proud when a student fails their class. I should go back to college, not because I actually think I'll get any value of it, but just so when I meet an asshole teacher, I can really start telling them off. And when they're like, is this what you came to school for? I'll be like, yes. I haven't had many bad teachers in my life. You're one of them. I enjoy sassing you. Your pain gives me life. I had biology in middle school, which was an elective. You know, you didn't have to take it. And, like, we would just cut shit open. There wasn't scientific value to it. We cut open a lamb's heart, a shark, and, was that it? That might have been it. We also cut shit open. We didn't do frogs. And, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of sharks. I don't want to hurt any shark. But I do feel better about cutting a shark open than a frog. You know? The shark was like... I imagine if the shark was alive or knew what was going to happen to him after death, he would have been like, well, you know... Listen, I live in the ocean. There's worse things that could happen to me. If it's your prerogative to just kind of poke around my insides after I'm dead, go ahead, go right for it. I do love Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig is a better streamer than I am. Mr. Pig said, I will play Hollow Knight. And I was like, yeah. And I said, yes, ma'am. 3, 4, and this isn't going to be 5, so I gotta work on some. I gotta work on some of this stuff. Chat, what does it look like when you throw an entire pirate ship in the ocean? Come on, we've all been playing Tears of the Kingdom. We know what it's like to launch an insanely large vehicle at something. I'm putting on a sweatshirt. I like my room cold so I can get cozy. Anyway, hot take. I'm not wild about the building in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm glad it's there, especially for the people who are already doing it in Breath of the Wild, when the system's only kind of allowed for you to, do that and stuff. But, I honestly have more fun with like I love the Ultra Hand is great. I like being just able to move stuff and stick it to other stuff, and I like Ascend. Ascend is amazing. I love being able to just point upwards and just ascend. What's the other one? Rewind is amazing. Like when I am literally always looking for stuff that will let me rewind it, because I'm like, yes, finally JoJo in my Zelda game. It's all I've ever wanted. And that's all the abilities. There's like a whole ability wheel, and like half of it's taken up by amiibo and camera. Also, it's so weird to me hearing, because like if you don't know, the reason Link got a new look in Breath of the Wild is because the producers of the game, had the engine and style for the game, and then they tried to put Link in his typical outfit, and they're like, we don't like this, so they changed it up a bit. And it's so weird to me because I love a lot of the Link tunics look in Breath of the Wild. I've always thought Twilight Princess Link, like, I like Twilight Princess. I'm not saying all of its characters look great. In fact, I will avoid saying that specifically. But I think Twilight Princess Link specifically has one of the best looks out of any Link ever. I think because it's just like the little stuff, the way his like belts look, the way he uses very realistic looking swords, and he has chainmail underneath the different tunics and everything. And it's that kind of stuff that makes me be like, damn. This is the coolest this guy's ever looked. I do still like me a dorky Link. I love me in it. Excuse me, princess. I'm trying to be like, does this look like a wave yet? But it's at the very start of a wave. Water is so hard to draw because water literally looks like nothing. It's easier to draw air than it is to draw water. Air is just lines. Avatar the Last Airbender was the easiest show on the world to animate. They animated all of that 2 days. Took them 2 days to animate the entire every fight scene. except the water. Well, the water parts of Avatar: The Last Airbending, Last Airbending, The Last Airbender, is what took most of the production time. And, like literally every artist before them, they had no idea how to animate water. I say this as I currently have a commission where someone is asking me to animate water. I hope they're not listening. Unnamed commissioner, if you're hearing this, no, you didn't. Oh, I should copy this. Bump. Bump, bump. I wanted to track down Animal Crossing music, because granted, why there's not the most amount of people here right now. What was I thinking of? I have noticed that when Animal Crossing music comes on oh my goodness, it comes on in my streams, people are like, Animal Crossing, and I was like, okay. Pay quickly. What other day should I stream? No one likes me on Wednesday specifically. Tuesday. Okay. Is that a serious answer, Ping? Are you like, yeah, I would be able to watch you more if you stream Tuesdays. Or are you just like, you put me on the spot, man. I don't know what you want from me. Because that's also a valid answer. If you're on Tuesday. Okay. I'll try it out. I can be a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday streamer. I like a short work week. Take off the rest of the week. But yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll see. Maybe I'll try scheduling it for this coming week. Maybe I'll have to wait for the one after. I'll ask around in Discord. Are y'all... I'm sorry, I'm experimenting. It's not a phase, Mom. Gosh. Every time I say... I know that's like Napoleon Dynamite. People are like, gosh. But I just think of Harold from Total Drama Island. You really had to like... If you were not a kid watching Cartoon Network when Total Drama Island came out, then it's really hard to explain like why people were like, oh, this is it. This is the show to be watching. The best thing I can say is that it genuinely emulated reality TV. You know? Like, you did not know who was going, quote unquote, going home, or staying, or what would happen. It was just kind of a free for all, and the only difference between it and Survivor was that it was an animated parody of the show Survivor. And also, they would show boobs. It was a Cartoon Network show where they would show boobs. So, obviously to a slightly older part of the Cartoon Network demographic, that was a hard selling point. No. No, Sloop. Only move sideways. Haha, you're so sexy. Let me see if I have this here. Yeah, I have a lot. So these free... This is Steamboat Willie, obviously. but the rest of these sample frames are from Mickey's Shanghai. Shanghai. I don't know why they call it that. I don't imagine. Here's the thing. I can, based on what I know about old timey like nicknames and catchphrases, I can guarantee you, the sailing term Shanghai has nothing to do with the Chinese city of Shanghai. Like, they probably thought it did, but it was probably just a lie. Anyway, but like this upper part up here, this upper right corner, the animation for this like pirate ship is so insane. I am a man in the 21st century and I cannot do that. I mean, I could. It would be all of the cartoon, which is why I don't have it. But like, I've done something I'm super proud of, and it is like a third of as impressive as this is. And some people might say, like, Dylan, the 1930s Disney is literally the old masters of animation. You are comparing yourself to literally like Renaissance painters. Isn't that unfair? And I say, no. I should be as good as Renaissance painters. No. Make me as good as a Renaissance painter. Do it now, please. Everyone is allowed to grow and learn and have their own amazing, unique art style, except for me. I have to be the best immediately all the time now. And that's not a double standard. It's just true. Whoever made the comic about cake, if you don't know, there's a comic out there about how art is perceived by its creators and the people who are actually, like, you know, consuming the art. And it's about someone baking cakes. And someone bakes a cake and they're like, oh, mine isn't as good as that one over there. But then the person who consumes the art is just like, oh my goodness, there are 2 cakes here. How amazing. And I remember seeing a thing where someone was like, this has forever changed my perspective on art. And I have to agree. Whoever did that did an amazing service to the art community. And while they almost definitely don't get paid for how many times that comic is reposted online, actually, let's do this right now. Let me Google them, make sure they're not problematic real quick. Who made the 2 Cakes comic? They're on Tumblr. Well, listen, you know, credit where credit's due. It's made by Stuff Man Art a very long time ago. They work in MS Paint. I do not endorse them personally because I know nothing about them, but they made a comic that has changed the way millions of people think about art, which ironically in and of itself makes it great art. So credit where credit's due there, you know. Deja watches a lot of Bar Rescue, and I've only seen some episodes with them. And they've talked about how they're like, now I look at how people pour drinks in different places, and I criticize it. I'm like, Deja, please. But I'm interested, you know? Bar Rescue, if you've never seen it, it's what people think Gordon Ramsay is. Because if you watch Gordon Ramsay, he is a generally just kind of, you know, maybe jaded, somewhat like, you know, not, like, he's chill. That's literally it. He's like, he's fine. Very, very just normal British man. going around doing things. But then he goes to these places, these restaurants that are like, hey, Gordon Ramsay, come help us save our restaurant. And he finds like dead rats in the background. When he goes off the handle, it's kind of understandable because he was like, you have like a 90-year-old woman in your dining room right now, and there's a pigeon sitting on the frying pan, a live pigeon. How did you let this happen? And they're like, I don't know. Bar Rescue, on the other hand, is like that, but the guy is yelling 24. The moment he's in the bar, he is yelling 100%. And you know what, all power to him. But I'm just saying, people make a caricature of Gordon Ramsay, and Bar Rescue just kind of is the caricature. What was I just thinking of? But anyway, it got me curious. Because I was like, so what does a bar that's like approved by the guy that runs that show? Because he, I'm talking about this and like he's almost definitely putting on a character for the show. But he knows how to run a bar. He like owns them and stuff. It's why he's able to host the show. Why he is qualified in the first place. So with that in mind, it does have me curious. Like, okay, what does a bar approved by this specific man look like? I'd want to go. I'm not like a club or bar person, but if I'm going to go to one, it might as well be good. Well, and that's the other thing, right? Like, I don't like bars. So what does a good one look like? What is a as intended enjoyable bar experience supposed to be? Enlighten me. I am young and and supple. Please show me the way. Mama. Love wacky laughs in One Piece. I did see a video about someone talking about like in the rare times I talked about this on Chen's stream last night, which makes it seem worse that I'm talking about it now, but whatever. In the rare times I do scroll on TikTok, there's a guy who talks about One Piece, and if I'm being honest, I don't agree with all of his takes. Like, they're not bad. They're just like, yeah. And, whatever. But he talked about, like, the laughs in One Piece. And he did make a good point that a lot of times manga characters will have verbal tics because you cannot hear a voice in a manga, and thus they are the author is giving them something so that you can recognize when they're speaking, even if they are not on screen, or in panel. I guess it's not a screen. That's the point. It's a panel. But then he's like, and there are other mangas that have these kinds of laughs. It's just One Piece anime adapted it the most directly. And I'll be like, what other manga has laughs like this one? Because I'm legitimately, I'm not even being like, no, One Piece is one of a kind. I'm legitimately just like, one of the villains is named Big Mom, and she laughs saying mom, 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 mom. She laughs saying the word mom. Is there another like popular anime that does that wacky kind of thing? And is it good? Because if so, I'd love to see it. But yeah, at that point, I was like, excuse me? Who? Where? Can I see them? I don't think there's a guy in One Punch Man who laughs by being like, punch, 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 punch. But here's the thing, to his credit, to this guy in that specific video's credit, I never really even thought about it like that. About people making comics giving their characters specific weird verbal tics, not as like some kind of inside joke, but rather so that people know when that character is talking. I just thought, culture barrier. I didn't understand certain humor, and that is definitely true for some things, but I imagine there is a good amount that is just that. It's just them trying to do interesting things with comics, which is why oh my goodness, full circle. It's why I'm like, yeah, read manga, because again, unlike Western comics, a lot of manga are made by one person, or rather, it's one person's vision, and they have assistants helping them, execute it. Because to draw that much by yourself is nuts. But still, seems more personal than Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. The Spider-Man comics aren't good right now, but I love Spider-Man. But Stan Lee made him, but he didn't do the art for it. And then quickly the artist changed on the original run. And then, when did, actually, I was talking about this. I think Stan Lee had one of the longest author runs on either Spider-Man or Fantastic Four. When did Stan Lee stop writing Spider-Man? Okay, so he did write Spider-Man for 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. But yeah. I mean, to be fair, that is pretty one man's vision of him. But I mean, also Stan Lee is a notable character in the comics industry, so maybe using him as the example of how our comics aren't as singular isn't fair. I don't know. Comics are cool. There's legitimately, I don't think, that much difference between Western comics and manga. So it's almost like the few differences there are bears repeating. It's hard to even really make the manga's black and white thing like, oh, that makes it unique. Because at the end of the day, there's plenty of black and white graphic novels from America and different comic publishers. Scott Pilgrim was originally black and white, and that's Western, so. Okay. I think I'm pretty good. We got let's think it up. We got 7 frames done. That's pretty cool. Let's see. There's probably someone out there to raid. This is kind of shorter, on the shorter end. I mean, it'll make that long stream I have to do now. And I said promising, I have to do it. I was paid to do it. It'll make that long stream even more special. And B, I'm now legit considering Tuesday streams, if that would work better for people. Because, I have noted before that one of my nights is not as popular as the others. And I think it's now just occurring to me that it's I'm probably thinking of Thursday. I want to stream Captain Big because he's pirate themed also. So I'm gonna raid him, and we can, hopefully if you're subbed, you can use the Cahill 1 Roger emote. That's what I would like. That's what I'm gonna use. So thanks everyone for coming. I will see you, I believe it would be Sunday. Well, Sunday's Father's Day. I probably will still be able to stream then, but if not, I'll update y'all. But we should be good. And I think we're doing Hades that day. So, yeah. And we'll see everyone then. Captain. Yep, there we go. But yep. Thanks everyone for being here. And I will see y'all later. Bye.